Okay, can Nitish, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, Jackie, I can.
Okay, so let me start with the session. So, guys, welcome to Surat MuleSoft 6, and the topic for today's meetup is deep dive into MUnit with MuleSoft. So, guys, sorry, like we have changed the topic for now, but we have a error handling meetup on 26 basically due to some like workload or something. So we have like changed the meetup to deep dive into MUnit with MuleSoft, and definitely we will come up with error handling session in on the 26th of August. So yeah, so you can just register for that particular session. So let me start with a safe harbor statement. So both speaker and the organizer organizing this meetup in the individual capacity, we are not representing any organization or companies here. This presentation is completely or strictly for the learning purpose only, and we are not holding any responsibility whether this solution work for your business requirement. You have to do some minor changes here and there, and maybe major, and the presentation is not mean for any promotional activities. Here we are not doing any kind of promotion. This is completely like we are sharing the knowledge, so you can like aware of various MuleSoft concepts. So let me start with housekeeping. We will definitely upload the recording with on the page within 24 hours. Ask the question at any time. You can use the chat window, and even like you can enable your we have already enabled the presenter mode for you, and you can definitely ask the question directly. Try to make the session more and more interactive. And finally, this is very important, we are not getting much more feedbacks, so please, I am requesting everybody to provide the feedback so we can improve for the future session, and we can we can publish the session depending on your requirement in the feedback. So, organizer myself, Jitendra Vapna, and working as a senior solution architect 3 at a EPAM system. And I am right now I'm like MuleSoft level 1, MuleSoft level 2 certified. I am MuleSoft integration as well as MuleSoft platform architect certified. I'm delivery champion, go-to-market champion, and industry champion. And even I'm MuleSoft ambassador, and also like meetup leader for three groups within the MuleSoft meetups basically. Yeah, Nitish, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, Jackie, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Nitish Jain. I'm working as application developer in Accenture. I am also MCD Level 1, MCIA, MCPA certified. I'm a mentor and co-leading Surat MuleSoft Meetup group with Jiten Bapna. Thank you.
Thanks, Nitish. So before Abhishek, like you can introduce later. That's fine, right? Okay.
Yep.
So okay. So like Abhishek will be walking you through like AM unit and like how we can use the AM unit in your application, and also I think he will also walk you through the AM unit recorder basically how you can record the AM unit test case basically. Yeah, Abhishek, you can take the session from here. Just I will unshare my screen and you can share your screen.
Sure. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, Abhishek.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, I want to thank you, Surat Group and Jitendra Nitish for having me here. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. So hello everyone. Hi, this is Abhishek. I'm a MuleSoft ambassador. I'm working as an associate solution architect at Apicero. I have overall of 7 plus years of total experience and 5 plus in MuleSoft. I'm certified developer and architect. I'm leading Guwahati and Lucknow meetup group. So that's all about me. So walking you through the agenda for today, as already we have mentioned, like we are going to discuss on MUnit. So in MUnit we are going to discuss what is MUnit, then what are the different approach of writing MUnit. Like if you want to create a test case, then what are the different approach you can use, limitations of test recorder, then what are the different tools and components in MUnit we are using, and what are the components which we basically use more. Okay, then how we can execute MUnit in different way, about the coverage and then demonstration. So we'll quickly walk through the PPT, and we'll invest more time on demo because I like to have it more demo than on theoretical. Okay, so just quickly go with the PPT. So what is MNet? So most of you already have the mic access, and I will request please make it more interactive. Let's give our 100%. Let's involve in this. So anyone from the audience, can you explain me or can you give me an idea like what you understand about MNet? What's your idea about MNet? Anyone?
Hi Abhishek. So we can say that it is a testing framework for doing unit test cases, and it is based on JUnit.
Yeah, correct. Anyone else?
Hi, Abhishek, this is Arvind.
Yeah,
So basically, MUnit is the only, the MuleSoft is providing the framework, testing framework, where we
mhm,
can, find it to all our component, yeah, is it working as expected or not. We can
mhm,
check all the components, like, all the processor. We can check our failure scenario, success scenario as well there. So,
correct. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So both of you are right. So basically, MUnit is a testing framework for MuleSoft application. We can say to check like whatever we have developed, whatever we have created, whether it is working fine or not. Okay, like the inputs which we are sharing or the error cases which we have, everything we are testing like whether it is working perfect or not, or is there any glitch, once it will deploy it will have any issues or not. Okay, that's why we do the MUnit testing for that. So there are different approach of creating the MUnit. One is manually create it, another one is record test. Okay, and this record feature is very much awesome. Okay, if you are a beginner or if you are learning MUnit, then this recording test case will help you a lot. Okay, you can always go with this option to understand like how the MUnits are created and how it's works. Like a lot of people have this difficulty to understand like how MUnit can be created. Okay, they face this difficulty. Okay, so you can go with the test recorder to understand how it works, and there are some prerequisites in order to run the test recorder. So those are this, like you should have a studio which is either 7.5 or the later one. Your MUnit plugin, it should be 2.2.5. Your studio MUnit plugin should be 2.5.0 and later, and your runtime, your mule runtime engine should be either 4.3 or later one. Okay, these are some prerequisites. Yeah, anyone? Okay, so there are some limitations with this test recorder, as it is very awesome and it is very useful, but still there are some limitations like you cannot create a minute with test recorder which have any error. There is, if there is any mule error, okay, raised in your application, or for error handling, you cannot use the test recorder. Test recorder is meant only for the success scenarios. Okay, now even though if you are testing for a success scenario and that application is not completed when you are running the test case, okay, when you are running the test recorder, if the full execution is not completed, if it is killed in between, or due to some reason it is not giving you the correct output, then the MUnit will not be created. Okay, so these are some of the limitations over here. Okay, which restrict the use of test recorder. Then the MUnit tools and components. To my right, you can see these are all the tools and components which we can use for a MUnit test case. And to my left, these are the commonly used, okay, the mostly used components for MUnit. Whenever we create MUnit, we are basically using this very much. Okay, so these are the tools and components. Then execution of MUnit, there are two ways. One is the studio, another is using the CMD. And I will show you the difference. What's the difference when you do it on studio and what's the difference when you do it on CMD. My personal recommendation will be whenever you create any test case, everything is done from your end. At least once you run it from CMD. Okay, because that will give you the best result. And I will show you how, why I'm saying that. I will justify my statement which I said. Then coverage, so the coverage will let you know like what all your application coverage is, like the total coverage what we have done, or maybe the resource coverage or the flow, individual flow coverage. Also we can see a percentage like how much test unit has been covered. Okay, because in some of the project there is some limitations, like some says like at least we need 70% of the coverage, some say we need 80. So it depends organization to organization and project to project what percentage of coverage you want to have in your have for your MUnit. Then only your build will be success, otherwise it will be failed. And we do it mostly for CI/CD. Okay, so this is MUnit coverage. And then at last we'll discuss about the ignoring the files. So there are some files, okay, it happens like there are some files where we cannot write the test cases. It become very difficult to write the test cases for those files or flows. So even we can ignore those. Okay, so we'll discuss all about that. So I'll quickly go to the demo, but before that, I would like to ask any question from anyone from the PPT, because we'll see everything which I have discussed, we'll see in the demo. So any question till now? And am I going good? Is it fast, slow, anything like that? You can hear me properly?
And Abhishek, one thing actually,
Yeah.
which I observed actually,
Hmm.
see, ignore flow actually when you are doing the error part, where we are going to the ignore. Okay, in studio
Hmm.
itself, and run test from the studio itself.
Hmm.
It is not taking that one. Ignore
I
flow.
will tell you that's why, see, I told you there are two ways of execution. One is
Yes.
the studio, one is the CMD.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I will.
But in our case, actually, we don't have. We are not using Maven for deployment. Other things, other tools we are using. So
But
what is the
you
alternative for
might
that?
be having CI/CD. In CI/CD, when you do the CI/CD, automatically it is taking the like CMD part, correct? So there you will get the actual result, and I show you. Okay,
Okay.
that
Okay.
part I will show you.
Thank you.
Yes, students. In demo, I will be quite slow. I was just going quickly with that PPT because I want to show the demo. Okay, so just give you a context what I have done. So I have two API. Okay, one I have named as MUnit project, on which we will do the MUnit. Another one is just a simple system API which I have created to connect with my MUnit project to show you like uh, show you like the inbound outbound properties, like when we are connecting to an outsource. Okay, then how we can mock it, why we should mock it. Okay, all these things I will show you. So this is a simple API. Okay, I don't have much thing on this. This is my MUnit project where I have the get methods. Okay, and this is the consecutive implementation for that. So in this first one, in the DB call, I am just getting selecting some data from DB. I'm transforming, I'm sending it to the system API. Okay, this is my system API where I have these different methods, get and post. So in get, it will just return me. Okay, this is a API call. And in post, when I'm sending a message, a payload to the post, it will do a transformation over here. The data which I am receiving from the database, I will send that over here. I will do some transformation. Okay, and I will get it back. Okay, this is what I am doing in my this MUnit project and system API. So I'll first deploy my API and show you the results. Okay, in this I have also taken VM. Okay, one of my flow have VM. Okay, so I will show you what, like how to create a MUnit for VM also. Okay, because when you are using a publish and listener, so the the publish is like asynchronous, so fire and forget thing. Okay, so I'll show you like how to write a MUnit for this. Also, I have a flow where I have got the lookup. Okay, so lookup is like, we can say, a flow reference type where we are not using flow reference, but from lookup we can call other private flow. Okay, we can pass our message. Okay, and can anyone tell me whether we can mock a transform message or not? Anyone, any idea, like can we mock a transform message?
No, no, I guess.
Yeah, we cannot mock and transform message. Correct.
Abhishek,
Mhm.
can we get this sample project also, like on the page somewhere, on the meetup page?
Okay.
uh,
I will take a project from Abhishek and I will upload to GitHub page. Okay, GitHub,
Okay,
public GitHub,
wherever
and
you know.
and later I will send the links over the email to everyone, so you can pick that project.
Yeah,
Is this fine, Abhishek? Right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely fine.
yeah. Thank
Not
you.
an issue.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, just make sure, like, when, if you want to just one thing, if you want to run both the project, like I'm going to run both the project together. So for
Okay.
that, what you need to do, you need to do a configuration, like you need to go to run.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go to your run config or maybe debug config. You create a application over here, and in
Okay.
general tab, choose both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you do that, then only both of them will
Both
run,
of them
otherwise
will
it will
run.
not. Okay,
Yes.
so my API is deployed, so I will just hit my process API, I will say. Okay, so this I am doing for the DB one, which is this one. Okay, so I'm selecting some information from my DB. Okay, now it returned me a hash map output, so I'm converting that into JSON, then I'm sending it to my system API. and then whatever output I'm getting, I'll get it over here. So this is what the transformation is done. Status and result. This is my result. I did the transformation and I'm getting it from my system API. Okay. Next is my sys API, which is going to revert only that success. And this is a API call. And another one is for the VM. Okay. So VM, it is async. Okay. As I am using publish and listener. Okay. So it is saying, okay, the flow is triggered. Okay, so I have a logger over here which is showing the payload, and at last it will show VM flow completed. Okay, so this is the payload I am getting and VM flow completed. Okay, so this is what my API do. Okay, then I have this for each and this lookup one, which I will show you later. Okay, so let create a MUnit for this implementation flow using the test recorder. So I will do record test. So once you start it, you will get a box over here, okay, which will be waiting for you to hit the API. So when you do test recording, so the way you hit your API to get an output, the same way you need to hit it again. Okay, once you do it, it will record everything, and then you need to do the configuration. Okay, so it's running. So when you do this test recording thing, then also like you can go to your debug configuration or run configuration, and you need to choose both the APIs together. Then only it will work. Otherwise, one API will work, one will not work, and it will give you error. Okay. So just let's wait for it to reply. Okay, so see, both my APIs are deployed and it gave me a box saying waiting for the input data. So what I need to do, I need to go to my Postman or any client tool you can use. Okay, maybe Arc also, hit it. So see, once I hit it, it is running and it is showing recording. So my record test case is now running. Okay, so now everything is done. Okay, it has recorded. Now I need to configure. So go to the configure test. It will ask you the file name, whether you want to choose this file name or later on you can change also unit like what flow name you want. Okay, automatically it is bringing, but it has an option where you can change it from here. So I will not change anything. I will just go next. Okay, now it will show you everything, all the components and connectors which are over here. Okay, so it will show you everything. So like I'll go to logger. So you can see that the mock is disabled because we cannot mock a logger. Okay, there is no required of mocking a logger, so it has been disabled. What things you can do, you can perform like you don't want to perform anything, don't do anything, you want to verify it. Okay, click on it. If you want to spy on it, spy on it. So can anyone tell me what spy means? What the spy do? Anyone?
Spy basically give you how you can uh, before the processor and what is happening after the processor. Okay, so
Correct.
you will get an option for before and after, and then according to your requirement, you will able to save that. Like for
Correct.
batch,
Hmm.
normally this happens that we cannot do the MUnit for batch because it's going asynchronous mode. In that case, we can do spy on complete, so it helps there a lot basically.
uh, One fact I can say you, we can do a minute on batch. Okay, but
Yeah, yeah,
in this I
yeah.
am not covering that because that is again a
Mhm.
separate topic. But you can use test recorder to do the minute for batch, but you need to do some manual changes on that to run it successfully. Okay, but we can do on batch. Okay, like I'm also exploring more on that. We can do
Mhm.
a minute on batch. You can use test recorder, but once you do the test recording, you need to manually do some changes to execute
Mhm.
it. Okay, fine. So
Yeah.
you said right. Spy is used to check what was the request before going in the minute phase, and after that process is covered, what is the output? Okay. So logger, I'm not doing any changes. So for select, I got this mock option. So can you tell me like what all things we can mock, or now this select is an outbound property we can say. So should we mock it or shouldn't we mock it? Anyone? Should we mock a outbound property or we should not mock an outbound properties?
Yeah, we should mock it.
Any reason why?
Because if you don't mock it, it will call that system,
Mhm.
and if the system is down, your MUnit can fail.
Amazing, great. That's the correct answer. So it is said like whenever we're creating any MUnit, we should mock the inbound outbound properties, because if we are running any MUnit, okay, and if you are not mocking, so that particular MUnit will call the actual system, okay, and we may not need that. Okay, even though if there is any error, server down or anything at that particular system, it is going to fail our MUnit and our build will fail. So we should always mock our inbound outbound properties, and we can replace that with a mocking inputs. So like you can see when I select on this DB connector, I use mock. It's giving me an option like what all things you need to show in presence of mock. So it is giving me an option of payload and variable. Okay, so if you want only payload, you can choose payload and you can uncheck this variable. If you want both, you can use both. Okay, depending on you what all you think, what all you want. So I am using both. Next, I will mock one transform message. Okay, just to show like how the spy works. And I'm not using variable because I don't want to check the variables. I just want to check the payload. So I'm using that. Then again, this is a requester which is calling my system API. So I will mock this. And this, again, I will let it be like payload, attribute, and variable, everything. Transform message, this one I don't want to spy. And this is again a logger. I don't want to do anything. Okay, so I will do next. So it will give me information like what all I have done, okay, and how it is going to create my MUnit. It is going to like in my behavior phase I will have this, in my execution I will have this, and in my validation I will have this. Okay, now finish. So once you do finish, this suit will be created. Okay, and to see that you can also go over here. Okay, there is a source test MUnit folder. In that your MUnit will be there. This source test resources is a folder where you can keep your payloads, whatever you have used, or variables what you have used for your MUnit. Okay, now I'll just bring this event, set event over here to show like this is the starting of my API. This flow reference is calling my individual flow. Now test recorder runs on individual flow. Okay, if you want to do a chain, chain in the sense, now suppose this is my flow, I have a flow reference. Okay, when you create a MUnit through test recorder, the flow reference, the other flow, whatever is there, you cannot mock or do anything on that because it will works on a particular flow only. But if you want to include that in this particular MUnit, you can manually do that. Okay, but test recorder is not going to do that for you. Okay, so this has been created. This is my mock for my DB connector. Okay, you can see select, it has mocked, it has used the ID. Okay, if I go, if I see what is the ID for this particular connector, so it is this one, AC696. If I go back, AC696. So this has mocked that particular connector. Okay, this is for my requester, mock the requester. Okay, these are all the payloads, variables, attributes which I have chosen over there. Okay, so let's see for select what it has done. Okay, this is the payload tab where you can assign the mocking payload you want to send. Okay, the payload which will reach to my flow when I have mocked that particular connector. Okay, this is mock payload, which is this one. So this is the input which will go after mocking the connector. Okay, then let's see attribute. Okay, I have variable. This is my outbound headers, named it as outbound headers. Okay, if we have any other variable with any other name, we can define that. Okay, so mock variable, this is, but we don't have anything, so this is blank. This is my requester, again same. Okay, the output which I am getting from my requester, it has mocked that output and saved it over here. This is my spy, I have spy on the transform message. Okay, so this is the assert payload which is before call. So before getting the call, Okay, it has the payload which is at spy asset payload, this one. Okay, this is the payload before transformation, and this is the payload after transform no, sorry, after transform message. Okay, yeah, this is the payload after transformations. Okay, this is before. Yeah, you can see the field name before transformation, it is account id. After it is id, if you go to my transform message, so this is what I am mapping. Okay, so this output, the first output is what I am getting from the database, and the second output what I am getting after transform message. Okay, then asset expression. So at the last, after the flow is completed, okay, it's going to check the output which I am getting and the expected output what I want, they are matching or not. Okay, so this is my asset expression. So this has uh, recorded, this should be the output. Okay, and here it has mentioned, okay, my payload should match with my actual payload, the original payload which is coming from my flow, the attribute and the variable. Okay, verify call, what this is doing, this is verifying the transform message. What it means is, when I am running the MUnit, at least once, okay, or equal to once, or at least once, or at most once, we have different options. It is equal to one, like once that transform message should be covered in my MUnit. Okay, this is what the verify call means. Okay, so I will just run this MUnit. It is pre-built. Okay, I have not done any manual changes over here. Now, as it is running, there are more other option for assertion, which is equal and that. Okay, and I will show you, like all are doing the same thing to check your output. But in assert expression, you can check multiple outputs like variable, attributes, and payload. Okay, mean same similarly in equal, you can fix it, like you have a payload, you can choose payload as an actual output and you can execute only payload over here. In assertion that, like if the payload, like basically in batch, we can say it happens that you want to check that you are getting a payload and which is not null, or maybe in for each. Okay, in this two case, you can say like you want to check that I am getting a payload and it should not be null, that's the only thing. Then you can go with assert that. Okay, so now my MUnit is done, my coverage report is generated over here, and this is the studio coverage. Okay, here you can see, okay, what all flow my in my implementation suite, there is one flow and that is successful, there is no error. In generate report, you can see the complete coverage. Okay, I have two XML, one is MUnit project, one is implementation. So my in my MUnit project, I have not covered anything and the weightage is 35%, and my implementation covered more coverage, that is 65%, and out of that 23 is covered. Altogether 15% is done. Even you can go inside this and you can individually see the flow which has been covered. So I have run the MUnit on a particular flow, so it is covering that 100%, and other are not done because I have not yet done. Okay, okay, now in this, as the test recorder is covering a particular flow. Okay, now if you'll see my main flow, okay, the MUnit project which is created out of the raml. So my this db flow is having only one flow reference. Okay, there is no other thing. So instead of creating a separate MUnit, what I can do is I can include this with my this current MUnit. Okay, and I can manually do that. So what I can do is, instead of using this flow reference calling this particular flow, what I can do is I can route it to my this main flow. Okay, get db. So once I do it, I'll go to this, I will select it from here. Okay, I will change the name. Okay, Okay, and then I will run it. So what it will do now is it will also cover the MUnit for that particular flow. Okay, so whenever you create a test recorder MUnit, you have full right to manually change according to you. Okay, you can do the changes to make it more effective and to cover more scenario. Okay, because there is no point of creating a separate MUnit for this. Okay, that's why I did like that. So any question till now? Am I going in good flow, or am I uh, more fast? Jackie, am I
Isaac,
fine?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So my question is, I saw some people do set event in behavior section and some people do execution section before the
Mhm,
flow reference call.
mhm.
So can you tell me what is the difference between that?
See, the
I
thing is,
behave
the
separately.
point is same. Okay. Even though whenever you are running a test case, like whenever I am running this, first this behavior is getting run. Okay, it validate whether it is correct or not. Okay, then this execution and other part will run. So if you're keeping it in behavior, then also it's fine. If you keep it in execution, then also fine. But what set event is do, it indicates like, okay, this is my starting point. So if you keep it in your execution, you will know, okay, this is my starting point, and you're passing an input from this. Okay, the first payload, the input payload which is required to pass in your flow, you're passing through it. So you can keep it in your execution. There is no such difference, I will say, like keeping it over here or here for set event. For mocking and other thing, you need to keep it in behavior part. Okay,
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
is getting tested over there. But for set event, it's fine. Like when test recorder has created the MUnit, it was over
Mm-hmm.
here. I just manually
Yeah, yeah.
dragged and
So
put it
we
over here.
use, yeah, the test recorder is that's why I have not noticed that point. The test recorder I saw always it's put in behavior section, but here I can see in your set event section. So
That
that's
I
why I
have put.
thought.
That I have put.
Yeah, yeah, okay, okay.
I manually put it because I prefer it to be in execution, because it indicate me my behavior part contains only the mocking and other things which are required, and my
Mm-hmm.
execution part contains only the initialization of my project. That's why I keep it
Okay,
over here. Okay.
okay.
Yeah. So now if you'll see the generate report, now this is also covered. Okay. 7.14% is covered. So the weightage of that particular flow was 7.14. Okay. So
Yeah.
now,
Abhishek, I have
yeah.
one question here.
Mm-hmm,
Okay, I have used MUnit test recorder in my
mm-hmm,
project.
mm-hmm,
What happens, in transfer message, suppose we have many variables, like from the headers, we are picking up things,
mm-hmm,
anything which is needed. So what
mm-hmm,
happens, when we are using a test recorder, for every variable
mm-hmm.
which is there, it creates a separate DWL file.
Yes.
Okay, so is there any way, that we create only for all those variables, we create one file? We can actually do that manually. Like
Correct.
you create a property file and paste everything and you refer it
Mm-hmm,
from there.
mm-hmm.
But while the test recorder only, we don't have any feature, right?
No, at present we don't have, because
Uh,
it treats that individually, because it is getting that individually. That's why I said like you can use test recorder for learning and execution purpose. Like if it is a very critical or big flow, you can use test recorder, but
hmm.
you need to give some manual intervention in that.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
that
that
is
is one
required.
thing. I personally, I have to, then
Yeah, that's true.
go and create a separate file and refer it from there.
Yeah, see, it is a very good feature, but
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, it has some limitations. You cannot expect it to do anything what you do manually. Like for error handling, I said it cannot create a minute for error handling. You can do it manually. Okay,
Yes.
so there are some limitation, and you need to like bear with that. But it's a good feature, okay, which can make you understand like and save a lot of time actually. Okay, it saves a
Um,
lot of time to create individual reports and everything. So if you have several variables, then even though you can use stats recorder, you are getting the output from that, then manually you can collab that one if you want. Correct.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think we can also, have an option to deselect the variables which is not required during the configuration of the test unit. Otherwise, actually, it's create a lot of unnecessary files that you actually not required to run that execution. That
Sorry,
also
come.
I actually faced.
Sorry, come
I
again.
mean, yeah, when we configure the test, the option,
Hmm.
in every processor, you will have an option that payload variables attributes, right?
Correct.
So whether your variables is ideally not required or not to run your MUnit. Suppose when you
Uh-huh.
are setting your payload, ideally those variable is getting generated internally. So you have option to
uh,
deselect that variables also in configure
yes,
test.
correct.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
in my case, like just now I've shown like this variable, this is empty, so I don't
Yeah.
want to use this. So simply either I can uncheck it from that test recorder, or I can later on delete it from over here. Okay, you can every
Yes,
time
yes.
anytime you can give them manual intervention over here. That is not an issue. Okay, fine. So let us go to the next part. So I will create a test unit or for this. So we have a choice expression over here, a choice router over here. So so the number of routing we have over here, we need to create that much MUnit. Okay, what I believe, because each one can be an individual input and output thing. Okay, so for this, let us create a MUnit. One I will do with test recorder and one I will do it manually. So I will use my test recorder. And Ajay, as you are asking for DWN JSON, so for test recorder, it is the default format. When we do it manually, you can do it that as .json file. Okay, but when you do manually, then you can do .dwl file also. It depends on you what format you want. Okay, you can choose anything what you want. Okay, it's running. Taking little time. Okay, meanwhile I'll explain you. So my this first choice router, it is taking a status code is like more than 400 or more than 400, then this will execute. That means it is for the error scenario, but it is not getting error because I have used a success validation over here. Okay, so I have used the success validation over here. So even though I am getting an error from my system API, I am not going to get an error over here. It will simply pass as a success scenario. Just I am checking the code over here whether it is 400 or more than 400, that is a error scenario, else it is a success case. Okay, so now I will execute this. So it is recording, it will be created for the down one, the default case. Okay, so I can keep it in the same implementation file. Name I don't want to change. Okay, I'll mock this. I don't want attribute, maybe I need attribute, I don't want variable. Okay, and just I will choose next and I will finish. Okay, so this has created my MUnit. See that set event default, by default it is coming up, but I'll put it down. Okay, this is my requester. This is created, a new folder has been created over here, which is this one. This is my mock payload. Okay, and attributes. Okay, this attributes is important because it has my status code which defined whether it is a success or a non-success scenario. Okay, so this is what I'm getting. Now what we can do is, so the first scenario is covered for the success one. Now you need to create it for the negative scenario. So what I can do is, instead of doing some changes in my system API and throwing an error from them and that will come over here, I can do it manually. Okay, so what I can do is the flow is same for me, but still I can manually do it. What I will do is I will copy this. Okay, I'll copy this. I'll create a new. I will change the name for this. So we cannot have two suits with same name. So I will put it as error test. Okay, in this few changes I will do, like mocking is fine. Okay, it is going to mock the same thing, but the thing which I need to change is first is the payload, another one is the mock attribute. These two things are required. Okay, and the assertion also I will change. Okay, instead of this what I will do, like I can use expression also, then I need to choose the expression one. I will use assert that just to say okay, my payload output is not null. Okay, I will change my mock payload. I will name it as mock payload 1. Okay, in this mock payload 1 I will change this to 400. Okay, this can be say failure, and this is error. One more thing I need to change is my mock attribute. Here I need to have 400, then only it will work. Okay, so I will copy the same. I will name it as 1. Okay, this is created mock attribute. I will do 400, save. Another thing I want to change is my mock request. I need to change the name over here. Okay, one is this, another one is the attribute. Okay, fine. So now I want to check only this particular MUnit. Okay, so there is one more option. Okay, either what you do, you right click on this, ignore other test case. So it will ignore other test case. Now right click, run or debug, whatever you want, you can do that. Or instead of ignoring, okay, enable all. Okay, if you just like I will debug it, if you just click on this and debug MUnit test, it will only debug this particular flow. So if you click it outside, it will debug or run the complete MUnit which is there in this particular file. If you click on the suit and do the debug or run, it will run only that particular file. Okay, so this is also one point you can remember, like instead of right clicking ignore other test, and then suppose if you forget to enable all, okay, then that will get ignored. So what you can do, you can simply choose a individual also. Okay, this is also what you can do. Okay, I will put one debug point here also because sometime it doesn't work in the minute part. Okay, it's came over here. Now in the debugger you can see the payload. This is my payload which I have defined. Okay, and my attributes, this is the attributes. Okay, status code 400 which again I have defined in that file. It went to the upper part, and here you can see it is success. Okay, so this is how, like, this is a combination of both recorder and manual one. So I didn't take much effort of creating the payloads individually. I just created first the success scenario for the using the test recorder, and then manually have created it for the error one. Okay, so this is one way of like creating MUnit with using test recorder and manually. Just few things you need to change, and you need to keep in mind like what things you need to change. Okay, any question on this? Okay, fine. So now let's quickly go on this VM. So as I'm using VM, so this is a asynchronous process. So if I create a minute for this, so like when we normally when we run our API, if I hit the API, it is giving me the output as test, like showing me okay this is done. But at the same time, it also goes to uh, my another flow where the listener is there and it executes it properties. But when I write a minute, it will only create the minute for this particular flow, and it will not go to this another flow, the listener flow, where I have the main logic. Okay, so let me show you that. I'll create, and this time I will choose create blank because I want to manually create. I have nothing to mock. Simply I am calling the calling the flow. Okay, and I can do verify, just to verify whether that VM is getting called or not. So this is how it looks when you do it manually. Okay, in verify call you need to choose pick process. Okay, it will give you the list. Okay, from the list you can select what is your flow. This is my flow. I just want to verify whether it is getting called or not at least once. Okay, I will put it one more thing. I will do set event because I have to pass a attribute over here. Sorry, in this. Okay, I need to pass an attribute because my system API required attribute. Okay, it is a mandatory parameter. Okay, it is a mandatory parameter. And another point, VM pass only payload. It doesn't pass attributes or variable. We can pass only payload through VM. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to create a query parameter attribute for mode. So I will create it over here. That's why I used event. And this you will see there is a attribute tab, and this I will just manually write it. Okay, I will make it as test. I will close it. Okay, and I will choose it as JSON. Okay, now I'll run this. See, this is done. Okay, my VM flow is done. But what it has covered only the main flow. Okay, it has not covered the VM flow in the implementation part. Okay, so now can anyone tell me how can I write my MNet so that in this flow itself, it also covered my this implementation, my this flow. Can anyone tell me how we can do that? Anyone? No one? Okay, so to do this, what we can do is we can use a mock. Okay, we can use a mock. In this, I can mock the VM of my main flow. This one I can mock. Okay, I can mock this mock when VM. Now you will see there is an option called then call. So what it do is, like, if you want to call that particular implementation, a VM implementation part in the implementation flow, you can choose it over here, so that when you are mocking this, automatically it will call the listener flow. Okay, just I need to choose it, the flow name. Okay, so my flow name is call VM flow. Okay, so now when I run this MUnit, it will call that flow. Okay, but in that I have a requester, so I should also mock that. Okay, so I don't care now like what is the output. Okay, uh, just to show you I'm doing this, so I'm not going to put any payload or anything over here. I'll simply mock this requester. Okay, this is mock the requester, but when we are mocking the VM, so VM takes only payload as input. Okay, we cannot pass anything else. So manually what I will do, I will provide the input over here, because that input need to be passed in this flow itself. Okay, that payload need to be passed over here. So what I will do is, manually I will create the payload over here. Okay, what I will do, I will just simply copy and paste this part because it is quite same. I will take this, I'll put it, just I need to pass test as a payload. Okay, and I will put JSON. Okay, I'll do this. Okay, verify, I will change it, and I will verify the another flow. I'll verify this logger just to see, okay, whether it is getting verified or not, and I will debug this. See, it came to my this flow as well. Okay, now I can run my MNet. I will check it is success, and if I'll see the coverage now both has been covered. Okay, my VM flow is also covered, which was not covered earlier because I have not defined that then call, but now it is covered because I have defined that part. Okay, any question? So this is how you can do, like, if you're using a publish consumer publish listener uh, VM, and if you want to cover it as a chain, you can use this process, because VM only take payload, so you don't need to pass any attribute or variable. Also, just you need to pass is a payload. That's it, and automatically it will take care of everything. Okay, now the interesting part, the lookup. Okay, so I will just move it to a normal phase. So what my lookup is doing, simply it is calling the this pivot flow. I am passing this as an input, it is just printing that. Okay, and it is working. Now we know we cannot mock a data wave. So if I create a manual test case, suppose for this particular flow where I don't have to mock anything, okay, I will just use a verify call. So will it work? Will it pass through the flow, the lookup? Can anyone tell me? Will it pass through the lookup? Will it execute?
No.
No. Okay, let's see that what error it gives. So I will just debug it. People, are you getting interested in this or you are getting bored? Okay, so see, this has given me error, exception while executing lookup. So we cannot mock it and we cannot pass our MUnit using in through a lookup function. So can anyone tell me how to resolve this? It's give me error. Any idea? Anyone? Like,
Can we map that, mock that transfer message and then give a
we
then
cannot
call?
mock a transfer message, no?
Yes, yes.
Anyone? Guys, you're getting bored. I think you are not answering or no one is telling anything. Am I not explaining it well?
Session is good, Abhishek. It's going pretty well.
So
Yeah,
it
please
means only
answer.
Nitish is understanding.
Okay. Anyone? Like, how can we resolve this issue? Any idea? At least give a try. Refreshing project resource. What does it mean? We know that I didn't get you. Referring project resource means this is a schedule one, and this is only the source if I'll say, or this is only the resource if I'll say. What do you mean by referring the project resource? Can you elaborate it?
Hello, can we try set event here?
Set event will only give you the input, but how it will pass through the lookup? You can use that to initialize your call or put some payload variable attributes, but that won't pass the lookup. Okay, let me tell you now. Okay, check it very carefully. So the suit is your answer. Okay, the suit itself can handle that. So if you go to your suit and if you'll explore, so there is an option of list of flows. So what you need to do is just you need to add your flow over there. Okay, so for me it is lookup flow. Okay, sorry, sf lookup flow. Okay, finish. That's the only answer. Okay, this is my sf lookup flow. Okay, now let's see how it works. Okay, now let's debug it. So will it work, will it not work? If it work, like, will it pass the payload, will it not pass the payload? Anyone? Okay, no one want to talk. Okay, so see, it came to my transfer message. Now see, it's not given me any error. The suit itself, okay, sorry, it's giving me some error. What is that? Let me change the time. 30 second. Why it is giving me error? Just give me a minute. I might have done something wrong. Project. Okay, let's do it again. It has it has used the cache, so it has caps up cache. Maybe I need to delete the target and .mule folder. Let's see if this time also if we get error, I will clear the cache and then we'll try again. Okay, yeah, see, it was the issue of cache. So now this time it has worked. Okay, and it is successful, so it have not given me any error for the lookup function. So this is what your suit can handle. Okay, you just need to list the flow which you want to call, and this will be used when you are doing the lookup. Okay, it will be used that, and you can write your MUnit for that. Okay, So let me close everything from right. Okay, and I will stop this because I don't want it to interfere. Now, one more interesting one. So writing MUnit for this API kit router errors. Okay, so can anyone tell me how can we write a MUnit for this error handlers, which is associated with your API kit router?
We can mock router itself.
No, no,
Then
we can just choose their error actually. Okay, we define the particular error like a packet build request over there.
where we need to choose it?
I'm talking about the automated actually. Okay, there is I got one similar issue actually just recently. You explain that one.
Huh?
You know to mark because what I am doing actually when I'm doing per particular all the error flow. So I'm getting
Hmm.
the error some like unknown actually. It is not taking properly that error actually.
Hmm.
So instead of this one, what I have done, I have marked the API key router it's also. Same.
Yeah, you need to mock the API
Yes.
router. That's true.
Yes, then
Okay.
then it work.
Yeah, but only mocking the API router in this scenario will not work. So let
Ye-
me show you how you do it. Okay. So this is for my main flow. Okay. True. I will mock it. Okay. I'll mock my API router. This is my API router. But here I also need to define what error I want. So I'll copy this. Okay. I'll go back. I'll go to my mock. There is an error tab. I'll put it over here. Okay. So what do you think? Now it will work?
No, no, no. You need to define set event, I guess.
Why I need set event? I'm
Set-
mocking the APIkit router. I don't want to pass anything. It is a get method. I don't want to pass anything. I'm not passing anything. Then why should I need to have set event?
So why? Because see, for the
Huh?
error only you need to define it there because error flows actually.
So yeah, so automatically, like if my execution is there and I have a flow reference,
Yes.
automatically my flow will initiate it. I don't need to have a set event. Set event we are using if you are pushing any payload or anything inside the flow.
No, but in the set
Uh,
event we need to pass it something actually. The wrong scenario, error scenario actually. Like suppose like I'm getting the bed request. Okay, so
uh,
which exactly payload I am sending. So I need
uh,
to pass it wrong payload over there. Then
Pass
only
a wrong payload.
then only
But
it will come the bed request.
mhm.
Error scenario will happen. So
Okay, so let me show you without setting without using set event how can I do that. Okay, so first
Do
when
raise
I
error.
raise error, why should I use raise error over here? I'm already using error part in my mock event. Okay, when I'm mocking
Inside
my APIkit
inside
router there,
mock we have error section, right?
yeah, there only I have defined it what type of
Yeah.
error I want. So automatically it will raise the error. Okay,
And in
so let
expected type we have to expect, right? Or
expected type where it will be there.
we should click on suit test suit.
Here,
Yeah,
you mean here?
expected failure. Yes.
Yes, correct. We need to do it over here. So let me show you what happened when we don't do it and what happened when we do it. Okay, so now I am not defining any expected type in the set in the suit. Okay, so how it will work? Okay, it came here. It is giving me error. Okay, it went to bed request because I choose that, but it gives me error. Why? Because it is not satisfying that. Okay, it is not satisfying that cause. That's why it is giving me error. Okay, you can see it over here. Okay, it is failed. Now as someone mentioned, correct, what you need to do is just simply do what, define your expected error type over here only. So your suit itself will take care of that. Okay, you have to do nothing. Your suit itself will take care. Okay, and this is particularly I am saying about API kit router. Okay, or there are some errors like which don't have a parent error, or it's not going to the global error handling, there also you can apply the same approach. Okay, but there will be flows where we have error handling and they are going to the global error handlings, or maybe the main APIkit router error handling. There you don't need to define anything in the suit. Automatically, like the normal flows how you create, you can create it like that. Okay, you can do it like that. But for this particular APIkit router one, this is one option which you can use. In this, the thing is, you don't need to put anything in the validation part also. Okay, you don't required. So now it came here, it went. Okay, if I close it, it's a success. Okay, earlier it was giving me error when I have not used the expected type, but now it is giving me success when I have given the expected type. And you can see the coverage also. Okay, now, yeah, now for each. So test recorder is a very good example of when you do for each. Okay, and it's create a very beautiful flow. Okay, and that is also used to, like, that is very useful to learn if you want to write a minute for each. Okay, if you want to do it manually, what you can do is, instead of like here I am going to pass four inputs to my for each, it is going to call my system API. It will give me an output, but I don't want that output outside. Okay, so I'm not considering that. Okay, it doesn't matter to me. Okay, but if you want to do it manually, so instead of what we do usually, instead of sending two three objects, we send only one object so that it iterate once and it gives out the output. But if you use test recorder, it's going to create a very beautiful flow, which I will show you. And you can learn it from there, like what are other components which are there in MUnit which we generally don't use. You can use that. Okay, and I'm going to show you like how it's going to create a MUnit for the for each using test recorder.
Means internally we can see the how the for is behaving, right?
Yes,
Yes.
in the MUnit you can see like how it is behaving, like how many times it is calling, what all payloads it is creating. Okay, it will use some object stores it. Okay, and like in the MUnit tool, if you'll go and if you'll see, we have a lot of things. Okay, we have so many tools and components over here, but we never use all of them because we are not sure like how to use that or what is the use of that. Okay, but here you can see how to use that. Again, I need to clean my project. Okay, let's try again. This is one issue with this. We are almost going to complete. We don't have much, just this one, and I will show you the use of ambient. Okay, in POM, I have few things, ignoring a flow and file, and like what this build failed, this percentage, how it works. Okay, just if this part work. Okay, let me restart. Meanwhile, any question, anyone?
Yeah. Abhishek, so regarding the batch that we are talking about, that we will
Hmm.
be not covering, but you said that we can do. I mean, I have done in such a way for a batch flow where so that it doesn't execute my main flow. We have given a sleep. I mean, suppose I know that within how many milliseconds my batch job will complete. So,
Hmm.
so that for my last verification call, I do a sleep, and then in on complete, I do a logger and do the spy. So, is this a way you are talking about, or you are talking about something else for batch? I mean, if you have 5 minutes of process, we can discuss.
Maybe okay, so you use the test recorder once, what I will suggest. Okay, so there is a component called sleep which will come into picture, and in your verification part, you need to change your verification. Like when you are generating it through test recorder, you need to use sleep, and in your validation part, whatever the test recorder is giving, change it with assert that, and choose like the payload as not null. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
so
that we easily do. And in
huh,
on complete, we put a spy so that after call, before call, how many, so it will give you result set of, okay, what is the batch step one has, other how many has successful, in batch step two, how many has successful. So that we can do. So is this the
correct.
way we were talking about?
Yes, that is also
Okay.
one way we can do. So like there are several batch steps. So for each batch step, we can count like how many success and failures are there.
Yeah.
Okay, you will
Mhm.
get the attributes like in that
Mhm.
for the success and failure numbers count you will get.
Yeah.
So you can use
Yeah,
that.
it's true. It's true too. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, sorry for the issue.
Actually, I also saw this scenario. I mean, if something wrong happened, we cannot
Mhm.
run. I mean, until and unless we do restart, we cannot do the minute recording.
Yeah, this is something like sometime
Some
we get
bug
this
is there.
glitch. Okay,
Hmm.
and I got it after a very long time. Okay, and just adding in the batch one. So like batch is multi-threaded. It is asynchronous and MUnit are synchronous. That's why
Yeah, yeah.
you will require the sleep option in that.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
Now let's see. This is an initial state. Okay, as it is running. Meanwhile, anyone want to discuss or any question? Jackie bhai, you are quite very quiet. You want to say anything? You there or not?
Jackie Bhai is writing blogs.
Jackie, Jackie bhai is bored.
No, Abhishek, it's a good session. Recently, I worked on MUnit, so I was just correlating my work, and yeah, some more in depth I got to learn from you.
Yeah, thanks, Nitish. You are the only one telling that. No one else is telling.
This only understand.
No, no,
He's
I can
relating
say
that.
yeah, because I have done a lot of MUnits couple of months back, like more than 10, 12 applications I have worked MUnits. So yeah, I was
I
correlating.
don't. Today audience is very silent. Actually, it might be Sunday, right? That's why.
Either they are trying to focus and understand, or they are not focusing at all and saying, "Okay, let him talk." We'll just see the recording later on.
No, Abhishek, it's not like that. Recording, obviously, we can go through, but when we are there present in the session, we can interact with you, ask questions,
True,
and yeah, and MUnit really, at least for me, it needs some time. We need to work on that through. Then only we can pop up some questions.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now see. So uh, as I use scheduler automatically, I don't have to hit anything. Automatically, it started, it recorded, and now it has done. So I will just configure. So again, it is asking where I want to put it. I'm putting in the same implementation file. Okay. I need to mock few things. I will mock the select DB connector, which is giving me the actual output. Then I will mock the requester. Apart from that, I don't want to do anything. Maybe I can keep the attributes or variable. I can remove it. Let's keep it. Doesn't matter for us at present. This give me an information like what all things we are going to do. Okay, and how to finish. So now it will create a minute, and now see it's really very beautiful. Okay, so what happening over here? This is my initialization. Let me take the set event over here. Okay, so this is my initialization. Okay, this is my DB, this is my requester. Okay, and this is my object stores. Okay, so what is happening over here when it is initializing and it is going to this part? Okay, it is mocking, the database, it is creating an output. Okay, you can see the payload over here. This is the for each one. It has created so many uh, files over here with all the inputs and attributes, everything over here. Okay, now if you go to the requester, you can see there is a then call, and this call is for this particular flow. This is a private flow, we can say, which is inside our MUnit. Okay, now how it's run. Okay, so guys, just bear for some time with me. We are almost at the edge of completing it. Okay, so I will debug it. Okay, and this is very beautiful. Okay, you can see how beautifully it has already created it. So if we manually do this, we may not think of this approach. Okay, because we may not have this idea. Okay, we what this is also what we can do. So this is a very good feature of recorder. Like, it shows you things which you have never tried, or you are not aware of that, or you don't know like how that particular component can be used. Okay, so this gives you a good picture of how a particular tool or component can be used. What are the different ways you can create a minute? If I have created it manually, I wouldn't have done it like this. I have not created this particular flow. What I have done, I have mocked the requester and the DB connector. I have just passed one object in this array of object. Only one I have passed, so that it iterates only once. Okay, even we cannot call it iterate if it is one. Okay, it is going only once, and then it is giving me the output. Okay, so this is my object store, this is my retrieve. So initially when I am doing retrieve, I don't have this key, that's why it is failing. Okay, this is not an issue, this is not a bug. This is trying to first retrieve something, but that retrieval is not present, that key is not present, that's why it is an error. But see, we have an error continuous, and we know when we have an error continuous, that means it is not going to stop our flow. So the first thing what it is going to do is it is set the payload as one, and then we are going to store it, and then it is going to call the first payload, which is this. So it will go here. Now my payload is one, it has stored that, and my key is the same key. Okay, one. My payload is one, but the data I stored is payload plus one. So my storage is two, but my payload is one. So it will go over here. Okay, first payload came, that means it is running on the requester. So the input which I passed, it went to the requester, it gave me the output. First one is done, it's going for the second one. Now I have the retrieve, I have an output in retrieve which is 2. So it retrieved 2, my payload is 2, but when I'm storing 2 plus 1 3, my key changed, but my payload is 2. Okay, now it will go to the second payload, because we have 4 inputs, we have 4 object in an array which I am fetching from the database. So it is running 4 times. Okay, so this is second. Now it will go third, I will make it quick. It went for the third one, fourth one. Okay, and after that I don't have anything. So by default we can say it went to the fail state, the default stage, like we don't have anything now. Okay, and then it's executed. Okay, in here it has asserted, okay, whatever output I wanted, it is matching, so there is no mismatch, and my test case is successful. Correct. So this is how it has automatically created the scenarios for the for each, the number of iterations I want, I have done like that. Okay, now my iterations are small, that's why I have done that, like there are 4 iterations, but think about there are more. Okay, so in that case you can change your scenario. Instead of using recorder, you can go manually and you can just pass one object instead of passing 4 or 10 or 100 maybe. Okay, instead of doing that, you can just pass one object and you can do it manually. Okay, so it has created a scenario for you. You can if you want, you can change it manually. Okay, so that's what you can do, and that's all about the flows. Okay, now I'll just explain the POM. Just give me 2-3 minutes more. So whenever you create MUnits, you get this plugin, and this you can do the configurations. This is the configuration tab. Skip MUnit test false, that means I don't want to skip MUnit. When I'm building my API, automatically the MUnit should run. Okay, when I'm deploying my API, my MUnit should automatically run. That's why skip MUnit is false. In coverage, I can ignore the flow or files. Okay, like if you'll see here, I have a console. Okay, and I have not written any MUnit for that. So if I want, I can ignore it completely. Okay, if I want, I can ignore the file itself, the complete file itself. Okay, I can ignore this particular thing itself. Run coverage, yes, I want to run. Bill field. Okay, how this work is, if you say like I want a coverage of 85. Okay, I want a coverage of 85, and if my coverage is less than 85, it shouldn't build. Okay, and let me show you now how can we do it. So as Arvind, I think you have asked, so whenever we ignore any flows or file and we do the MUnit in Studio, it doesn't shows.
Yes,
So
right, right.
yeah, so I have my MUnit cases at present with me. So I'm not ignoring anything. Okay, I'm simply doing it. Okay, so what I will do, I will first run my test cases and make sure I'm not ignoring anything. Okay, build failed is false. I don't want to fail my build if it is not 85%. I will right click on my, if you want to run the complete test case together, even instead of one by one, right click on this folder, go to MUnit, run test. So what it will do, it will run all the test cases what you have in your API all together. Okay, this is one approach in Studio how you can do it. So let's see what's coverage we have in this. We are little over time, but I hope you won't mind. It's you will get it little interesting. So just be a few more minutes with me, okay? Because this is quite very important. This will give you a good idea about the difference of the Studio plugin MUnit coverage and how we do it in CMD. Okay, it will give you the difference. So it is running all the test cases. See 75%. Okay, if I generate report, I can see 96.15 is over here and 35.71 is over here. Okay, this is what my coverage report. Now what I will do is, this is my console. Okay, I will ignore this. I'll ignore a particular flow. That's why I have this mentioned over here that I am ignoring a flow. For file also we can do same. Okay, both are same. So I will just save it. Okay, let me once clean it. So I don't want any cache or anything to be stored. I will close this. Uh, okay, now I'll right click, run test case. Okay, it's deploying. So as we already discussed, although I'm using this ignore flow or file or anything over here in the Studio, it doesn't impact, it doesn't show me any change. Okay, earlier it was 75 when I haven't ignored it. Now also it should be 75 even though I have ignored it. Okay, and I'll show you that. See, even though I have ignored it, my outputs are same. There is no difference in that. Okay, now here what the CMD come into picture and how it helps. So to do that, what I can do is I'll simply go to the folder where my API is there in my workspace, or I can say the backend. I'll open this in my CMD. Here the command which I need to use is mvn clean test. I'll do this, and now it will run the MUnit the same way as it is there in your console, in your Studio console. The same way you will see it over here. Okay, it's starting the process. It may take a few seconds to start it.
So you are saying here it will increase the coverage, right?
Yes.
So then this should be a bug in Anyfun Studio.
We can say like there might be some thoughts behind that, maybe a bug or limitations. Okay, we can say that.
Limitation
But
I can say. Bug,
this
not
is,
what, maybe a limitation and that
yeah,
case.
maybe limitations, because I don't want to comment in that way. Okay, it's a bug
Hmm.
or not.
No, I
Maybe,
don't think it's a bug. Actually,
yeah,
like how this works, basically, they might be saying like you will see everything in your Anypoint Studio, what errors or whatever you are right? And when you are
yeah,
running the test cases in the Anypoint Studio, it's not running a Maven actually, right? But
yes,
when you're running from a command prompt and when you want to integrate with your Jenkins pipeline or whatever, right? So it will run via Maven command, and whatever we have defined in pom.xml, right? So
hmm,
that can be used with the Maven commands basically. That can be applicable to the Maven command. That might be the one limitation.
yeah.
Yeah, that can be
True.
possible.
That
Yeah.
that's why I said I won't comment. It's a bug or anything. It can be limitations or maybe some reasons behind that. Okay, so now you can see in Studio we had the coverage as 75, but here the current coverage is 78. Okay, the required is 85. Okay, but the build field is false. That's why it is a success. There is no issue with that. Now let us do one thing. Let us see this scenario also. What happens if I do it true? Okay, and my coverage is 85. So now again I'll go to command prompt and make sure whenever you do any changes, refresh your command prompt. Okay, don't run it in the same command prompt because it's not going to refresh automatically. That's why I closed it. Okay, now we'll see the coverage. Sorry, the build, the coverage is 78 point something. Okay, but we required 85. But when the build file build, sorry, the build was false, fail build was false, it was success. It didn't fail because of the coverage. But once I make it true, let's see what happened. See, now the build failed. Why? It will give like the required was this, but the current is this. Okay, that's why it failed. Application coverage is below defined limitations. Okay, so this what all this configurations do. Okay, just was one last thing. Like we were talking about Maven. So in order to test whether you have a Maven or not, like to run this, you need to configure your Maven in your system. So just you can test mvn hyphen version. Okay, if you get this, that means you have configured the Maven in your system. If you have not done, what you can do, go to a Apache Maven website. Okay, download your Maven and then go to your computer settings, like go to your advanced system settings, go to environment variable, and here in this upper variable, okay, and this variable part you can define m2 home and Maven home. Okay, and you can declare the path of your Maven which you have downloaded. Okay, so once you do this, then you can test it in your CMD using ambient hyphen version, and then it will show you whether the Maven has been successfully configured in your system or not. Okay, so that's all about the MUnit uh, for today. So if anyone have any question, anyone want to ask anything or share anything, please feel free to do that. So Jackie, I'm done with my presentation.
I know.
These are some reference. These are some my reference. So any Q question and answer before also, like you want to take that presentation mode now, Jackie, or should I say about
Mm,
anyone
no,
want to
no.
nominate or all?
Yeah, that's fine. Like you can say, like you
Yeah.
like.
So this is the reference. I will share it in the chat as well. You can ask any question, maybe now or maybe after trivia, and also please take the chance to nominate yourself to being a speaker. Okay, so we are at 46th meetup for Surat, and our aim is to move it to 50 very soon. So we request you come up. You can contact any one of us, maybe me, Jeki, or Nitish, or any leaders. You can in meetup page also you can go and you can, like, there is an option where you can opt, like, get involved, give a talk at a meetup. You can go to this option and you can choose which meetup group you want. Okay, all that you can do. And this is the Surat page, I will share that also. Go to LinkedIn, share about today's meetup, share your views, and very much important, give your feedback, which Jackie also explained earlier. It is very much important for us, for both the organizer, speaker, and the group to get the feedback and knows your views, so that we can improve more on this. Okay, so please do that.
Okay, thanks Abhishek. Thank you so much for an awesome session on MUnit. So you are a real MuleSoft ambassador basically. Like you're given a great session on MUnit. I think like people are not talking that much, but I think like people have stayed till the end. So that is a good sign. So it proved that like you have done a great job basically. Thank you so much Abhishek.
No, no,
So,
Jitendra. Actually, the thing is that last time also I given, recently, like 15 days before, I think 1 month before, Abhishek is given for a minute. Okay,
mm,
so most of the people also, I think, got that one, and just waiting for this some, question and answer clarification and all. So that's why.
No, bro. Thanks, Arvind. Thank you so much for joining the session and asking a lot of questions. Like we always welcome questions. Basically, that definitely everybody doesn't know everything, but definitely we try to give the answers to each and every questions. Basically, yeah. But sometime there might be possibility we don't know everything. So we generally like later we find the answer and we try to give that answer. Basically, yeah. Right. So
Yeah,
There is a two possibility actually. In initial day, I was also when learning moves out when I don't know much more about, so I was not asking question. Okay, and
yeah.
second thing is that we know most of the things, so that's why we are keeping keep quiet. Actually, we are not asking whenever we required. Stuck, so
Right.
then it's asking. There are two
So
scenarios.
generally, what I will suggest, like in future, anybody is like becoming the speaker and anybody is giving any talk, right? So like always give like if you are 100% sure or like then you give the answer. If you don't know, like just simply like skip, not skip, like tell them like basically we will find the answer for this. I'm not 100% sure about my like my answer basically. So at least I will just suggest everyone to give a true knowledge, basically correct knowledge to others. Like sometime there might be some question like it every time it's not 100% we have to give answer everything. Like we may answer end up in answering 90%. Even you see the certification criteria is 70%, it's not 100%, right? so so even like if you are 70% as a speaker, that's enough, like.
yeah,
Actually,
One
Jitendra, just
question
to
I have,
say,
this
Yeah.
yeah,
one.
sure, go ahead.
Yeah, one question I have. As we know, most of us started using this API-led connectivity, and we have multiple layers, right? So, as part of the integration testing, when we are performing this MUnit test executions, is there a possibility to know? Let's say if I'm making a call from experience to process or system, is there a possibility to know whether the request really reached the next layer instead of just mocking and asserting the payloads? Is there a way to understand that?
Abhishek.
yeah. So see, MUnit, I will not say it as like as an integration testing. Will say it more as a unit testing. When you do integration testing, what I understand is the end-to-end testing you do using any client tool. In that case, you can understand whether it is reaching out or not. MUnit is just for your particular application and for your particular flows to understand whether that flow is working fine or not, your data wave is working fine or not. Okay, in that scenario, it is very much important, because when you deploy your application on, maybe on any cloud or on prem or any other any other place, so the MUnit runs for that particular application. Okay, it detach you from any inbound outbound properties, we'll say. Okay, so integration testing in a way will be different, and MUnit testing in a way will be different, I will say. Maybe JK, you can correct me if I'm telling wrong.
No, you are right. Like if you want to check like connectivity and all those things, that then integration testing come into picture. And like if you want to do some basic functionality, whether your flow is working fine, like whether like whatever payloads, like if you want to validate your payloads and all those things, like all the components within your flow, then you can make use of unit testing basically. You're right.
Okay, thank you.
And also like I will suggest there is a one tool, like I don't know people have heard about that tool or not. There's something called ready API. Have you heard about ready API, soap UI ready API? So basically soap UI ready API is nothing where you can like write a test suits basically, where you can define your security test, you can define your black box testing, white box testing, like even you can define integration testing, you can define the stress or performance testing, all like you can define like various kind of testing for that particular API into a single project basically. So you just export that. I will not going deep into that because like we have a very like we already running out of the time. So just we will keep the meetup some days on this ready API. Just go and open that ready API, and like that ready API provide a lot of functionality. So you can have a single project for one application. In that particular application, you can manage all your test cases, like starting from your integration, as I mentioned, performance testing, security testing, like other testers. So basically, you just explore that tool because I'm using that tool for one of my project.
Okay, that's I'm hearing it for the first time, to be honest.
So yeah,
But we'll
you will
explore.
always hear a lot of new things from me.
Yeah, obviously, I know. And again, I want to thank you, Surat Group, Jackie, Nitesh, and Jackie. Thank you so much for saying so motivating
uh,
word for me. It's a pleasure to hear it from you. It's a very
no,
great
if
thing.
you are see, you have done a great job. So definitely, like and like other thing, like you have accept my proposal for like for you speaking at the Surat. So that's
Anytime,
a that's thanks to you basically.
anytime for you.
Okay, let's quickly start with because it's Sunday. We
Yeah.
don't want to waste a lot of time of the people. And it is now it's your turn.
Okay, sure, Jackie.